Hello beautiful humans, we are starting this vlog and video with some footage from after my first peyote ceremony, and we went straight into a temazcal, swimming in the beautiful cenotes in the forest there. But this was the evening before, setting up our altars, which are super important, and I'm super grateful to have had the wisdom passed on to me about these sacred ways of being, so I'm excited to share with you. Hello, welcome back. Before we get into this video, please like and subscribe if you like my content, and also turn on your notifications so you know when I'm posting. I'm traveling right now, so I am doing my best to do once a week videos, and yeah, check out the butterfly effect. I have a discount code for you that I'm going to put right here. The intentions of this project is not only an offering to you to receive your manifestations, an offering to each other because it's consciousness expanding, and also to help the Amazon rainforest. We're planting back 11 trees per regular items, which is the t-shirts and the sweatshirts, and then we also have other ones which are less for people more in that budget range, but you offer something that you can really feel, and that's the feeling of what you're calling in through the like manifestation that is. So it's going to be different for everyone what that feels like for you, and also just knowing that giving an offering to the earth is absolutely one of the best manifestation practices we can have. We're giving back to God, we're giving back to ourselves, and we're giving to receive our manifestation, and that's a super big part, along with aligned action and other things. You can check out my other videos. Let's get into the video. I want to make a quick disclaimer here that the experience is different for everyone. There's different things that our soul's gonna need. For example, for ayahuasca, some people don't receive visions in their first ceremonies because she's working on your body, she's working on your mental, and I'm just hopping in here editing. Those things are a lot more important to get to before you get into these galactic journeys. These sacred plant medicines are just tools. So it's really important that if you're choosing to embark on this journey in medicine, ceremonies, and in life, is to not have expectations, and that takes away the attachment that leads to suffering. Returning back to the breath, and as you're watching this video, can change so much in an instant. It's a daily practice that I'm always working on, but I want to share with you because the point of this video is to share the sacred wisdom and knowledge that's been passed on to me, that I've had the absolute privilege of receiving, being able to connect with these cultures and to be able to share it with you. I feel super grateful and honored, so thank you for being here. Shamans and Marakames. Marakames are the guardians of peyote, of the medicine of the land. Similar to shamans in a way because they're serving the medicine. When you're working in these different realms of realities, you want someone who is experienced there with you. I want to say the big difference between my peyote and ayahuasca experiences, first of all, is I worked with a Marakame who offers crystallization. So the crystallization, I'll tell you the story of how he came about it. He was about 7 years old working with the medicine, and he was like with the wind and crystallized the energy of the wind. So it appeared in a matter form, a crystallization of the energy of the wind. What the crystal looked like for the wind in comparison to, they did a crystallization on my dear sister's house that she moved to, and I guess the person before had super low vibrational energy, and what he crystallized, it came into matter, was a black knife. So that gives you an example of what the different crystallizations look like. I will also go into depth about my own personal experiences and what my crystals look like. But first, let's answer some basic questions. So, purging. I know of people who have done like 20 ayahuasca ceremonies and then go to a peyote ceremony and purge the whole time. My first ayahuasca ceremony, I didn't purge, but I do purge periodically with ayahuasca ceremonies. Generally, if I'm on my moon, I won't, or sometimes if I'm going through a really deep process, other people will purge for me. The purging, I wouldn't be scared of because it actually feels really good. You're letting go of anything negative that no longer serves you energetically, physically, in your body. It's a really good cleanse for parasites, etc. The strength of the medicines, so even though peyote is the grandfather, the people, the indigenous people, children will have peyote, and it's a cactus. Versus ayahuasca, it's actually a mixture that they say was given to them, which is of both a root and usually the chacruna leaf. Because you're going into past, future, present, all of the universe, you're receiving a lot of information. Generally, it's a little bit of an older age that the children will the people, the humans, will enter into ceremony. Okay, how they impacted me, where do I start? Well, the first ayahuasca I started with, because I had tumors in my breast, and my first ceremony, she removed the tumors from my breast, showing me self-love, and also just really clarifying a lot of questions I had in my life, like, why am I here? What's questions about the universe, all these different things, and receiving that knowledge and just sitting with it, and also connecting back to the pyramids and our ancestors and those types of goodies in my everyday life. It's just made me feel really peaceful and happy. Peyote more was actualizing it, putting it into my life. Ayahuasca gave me all these ideas, and I felt that in my experience, peyote helped me to live them, if that makes sense, because it was a little bit more grounding on this reality, in this earth plane, in this timeline here, to use them. Hello. Okay, so my camera died, but I am back. A lot of the visions that I have heard about being experienced, even though I haven't had actual visions in peyote, my experience with peyote was more so, this is all the knowledge that you need to know. You already know everything you need to know, like, go do it, which is what I'm doing right now. But they're a little bit more with Pachamama, so experiences with the animals and visions and things like that. Even though I have had that experience with ayahuasca and animals as well. Follow Atlantis and the earth and how that was, that's another one from peyote, but I've also had that with ayahuasca, so I think that it's always going to be what you need. Dieta for ayahuasca, from what I've learned and received information wise from the elders here, is actually more strict than with peyote. For ayahuasca, in my experience, the better dieta that I do, the better information generally I receive. I think that's because maybe as a woman, as a feminine energy, she takes that offering to heart, and she really will give to you, versus peyote, the grandfather, for example, maybe is a little bit more laid back, and you're still gonna receive and have a good ceremony. The thing before I get into my own crystallization experience is integration time between the two medicines. I think this is a really big difference. I know from one of my other dear sisters, she said that in her peyote, it took all of the information from her ayahuascas and adjusted it into something that she was like, oh, okay, this all makes sense, comprehend it, and then live. I didn't really, not that you don't need integration time, because you're always integrating at all times. However, with peyote, it was very much clear, the knowledge as a man is honestly super clear, straightforward. This is the knowledge, this is what happened, this is it. Okay, versus ayahuasca oftentimes takes a lot more support and integration, and I found that sometimes the biggest messages that I receive from the medicine is when I'm in my time talking with my sisters and my brothers about my experiences and relaying back and forth, and it helps with my understandings. And there's still messages and things that I have downloads from ceremonies that I still are in the future and that haven't arisen yet. So I think that ayahuasca does take a little bit more time, and you may need a little bit more nurturing, you may need a little bit more nourishment and support in integrating, and I think that's maybe why people refer to it as a stronger medicine. However, it's helped me so much, and I'm super grateful to have experienced it and to be able to share with you. Further ado, let's get into my crystallization experience. So I was working with the Witch Hole tribe peoples, and they offer crystallization for us. I do have some videos of crystallization, but I'm not sure if I'll insert them here or not. If I do, this is where they'll be. And you're not supposed to look at the crystallization of other people, and I did, I think, like 2 times. I looked, you know, and so I went through the process again of being cleansed, because you're looking at the negative energy they're pulling out, and they're doing these prayers, and they're literally pulling out whatever doesn't serve you. For example, women who aren't able to have children, who can have children as a result of this. For myself, so we'll get super personal into this so that you guys can get a really real, true, raw idea of what it's like. My first ceremony, my crystal was clear, and now a lot of different shamans have worked with the Marakames that I've worked with, and all were trying to figure out, there's no way this is real, because it sounds super out there a little bit. But when you're there, when you experience, there's absolutely no way that he could fake it. I was trying to think of some sort of Chris Angel type vibe, like there had to be something else, but there's no way. And what convinced me was my first crystallization. So he sucks it out, out of here. I think it was somewhere on my chest, and he pulled out the crystallization for me, and he coughs it out like this and shows you. And so mine was a clear crystal with, it looked like galactic cum with like sparkles, like the Milky Way galaxy, but with sparkles in like a cum consistency on the crystal, like that. And so I knew when I saw it with my eyes that there's absolutely no way it could be made up. They have also crystallized things such as a leaf, like a marijuana leaf, I know from one of my friends' heads, and the Murakami crystallized a marijuana, like a little tiny marijuana leaf from him, which is funny, but just kind of shows you the reality of how things can shift in an instant. And when these people, these super advanced wise beings are using this to show us, this is the energy of this is creation into matter in an instant, and just to give you that hope and that idea that things can shift and change in an instant, whether you're thinking in terms of Joe Dispenza and not using any medicine, but you're learning that how to use your mind and how to shift realities in an instant. It's super, super important, and part of why I'm sharing it. So my first experience with my crystallization, I actually, during the ceremony, I came to the realization that I might be pregnant, and I wasn't in intention of my partner and I to create a life at this time, because we both are traveling and doing these things that we wanted to do us first. At the time, anyways, this was the realization that I had when the Murakami was coming around to do the crystallization. And I felt when he did it, I could feel it in my womb, in my stomach with the medicine. And I felt when he did the crystallization, it took it out of me. And another thing that they explained to us is just to be honest, because they know everything. You're not going to keep secrets from them. They're working on different dimensions with your soul. So yeah, I just was like, and allowed, and obviously I'm not pregnant, I don't have a child. So that was my first crystallization experience. My second two, after that, I had some like more earthy, like it was still clear, but a little more earthy, and it had like brown, like blood kind of colors come onto it.
Okay, so I tried to find a picture on the internet. This is the closest I could for the second one, which was a little bit more earthy tones. I think lower vibrational frequency that I had at that time, as well as the blood work, which the shamans and Marakames explained to me. This is my last one, was more clear, but it did have like the shards and the blood on the outside, which I feel was my vessel and heart being
that cleaned. I had some work to do with my circulation in my blood, and I'm guessing that this relayed back to my tumors when I was doing the cleansing, etc. So I came up with, as a result of that, it gave me a greater insight into what I needed to do herb-wise. So I looked into blood cleansing, revitalizing, and strengthening herbs for the blood. And I actually did post on the Butterfly Effect project that recipe and different herbs and what their uses are for, if you want to check it out. But that is a really big way that it helped me, because not only did it take that out of me, that whatever negativity, and I feel that, like, I felt so much lighter. I felt those, like, the shifts, it changed my life completely, and I'm super, super grateful. As always, being on this earth plane, it's a daily work, and it's daily dedication into being of service, and to being of the light, and to being of God, and to matching our thoughts and our actions and our words and everything with that as a human being. But it absolutely changed my life, which is why I'm sharing this with you. Another difference with the peyote versus ayahuasca being ground and earthing, ayahuasca being super magical and taking the tumors out of my body. However, when I went to peyote and I was working with these absolutely amazing Marakames, and they use a feather for the healing, and they were teaching me as well, because I was learning healing with my hands from ayahuasca, and they were teaching me the ways to protect myself, to not absorb the energy from other people when I'm doing the healing work on them, which is another reason why it's so, so important that if you have the opportunity to go and learn from the people who these things have been passed down from generations to generations and thousands of years, that you go and choose that route if you have the opportunity, because it's super helpful knowledge. But in the Hikuri ceremony, when they used their feather and they were doing cleansing on me, I could feel in my organs, and I had some sexual trauma and healing. No, I thought actually that it was mostly done, but I could feel when they used the feather, my organs like like that's my best explanation of it, of them like my body literally instantly regenerating itself. And I knew in that moment, I was like, oh wow, like that was the last of like the physical healing on my insides that needed to be done. And then in my external reality now, of course, there's still things that will come up and that I need to face, because the work of doing this work is allowing the light to be shone on the darkness, and allowing ourselves to face it, and allowing ourselves to feel it, and allowing ourselves to transmute it and to transcend it and to feel all of it, because that's how we heal it and we move forward and we feel more light in our everyday life. And I think that's the purpose of all this sharing, is that maybe it helps you to feel seen, maybe it gives you a little bit more security if you're feeling that this is a path that you want to take. Hopefully it it gave you some information that helped you and that you could take away from it. I really thank you for being here and watching this video, because there was obviously a soul connection between us for you to be here. And yeah, I think that's all. Please like and subscribe if you liked it, and check out the Butterfly Effect project. Turn on your notifications, and I will see you guys in the next video, which should be in a week. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I love you so much, and if no one told you today, there is an absolutely beautiful, profound reason why you're on this earth. Things can change. They can go from feeling like it's never gonna get better, like there's no way out, to actually just being so grateful to be on this earth that you don't know what to do, that you feel like you could cry. And I really pray that you all get to experience those feelings, and that they begin to become your everyday normal reality, because we all deserve that. I love you so much. Ciao.